squeaky. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
And get our attention again.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Graham School. Hello, my name is Shreyas.
And my name is Jocelyn. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025.
Welcome back to our amazing performing artists.
They spent the last 4 days touring and performing in Southern California.
Today is the beginning of our last full week of school, and for those who are paying attention to their grades, this Friday is an important cutoff day for 8th graders to make sure your grades are at their top level.
If you need to fix your grades, ask your teacher today on how you can improve your grades.
We are running out of days of school in this year.
We have only 13 days left, including today.
Today is also the first week of our last Spirit Day of the year.
That's right, and you should be dressed up as your favorite TV show or movie character.
Tomorrow, you should dress up in floral or beach day clothes.
On Wednesday, we will wear pink.
On Thursday, it's Culture Day. Wear cultural dress, soccer jerseys, etc., or accessories, etc.
On Friday, it's Rhyme Without Reason. Pick 2 things that rhyme and dress up like them with a friend.
Like them with a friend. Example, dairy plus berry, finance bro plus flamingo, Iron Man plus garbage can, cat plus hat.
The first period class with the most participation tallied from the entire school year wins a prize.
For the most part, we are done with testing.
Hooray! We only have a few students left who are doing makeups, but thank you all for your hard work on testing. Lunchtime soccer tournament update. Real Madrid 2017 play Cappuccinos Assassinos. Tomorrow at lunch in the Stinky Pinky Princesses take on Team Logan on Friday in the first round of playoffs.
Teachers, please remember to take roll now.
Club news! Here are your lunchtime clubs.
Best Buddies Club will be meeting today at lunch in room 54 courtyard.
The D&D Club will be meeting tomorrow. Check the Google Classroom for more details.
We think the Board Games Club is meeting in room 22 at lunch. Bring your friends to room 22 to play board games and hang out.
Whether you want to build and program robots or is just curious about how it all works, come check it out. Workshops take place every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5 p.m. in room 6.
Stop by and see what robotics is all about.
The robotics never mind.
Sports update! Athletes who are going to county finals have practiced today. The meet will be tomorrow at Westmount High School. Tennis and other track athletes who are done with their season, please return their uniforms back to Ms. Corral or Mr. Van Dam. In NBA news, the conference finals have been set. The Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Minnesota Timberwolves in the West, and the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks in the East. Let's see who moves on. Go Bears!
Well, that's all we have for you today. But be ready for the announcements tomorrow.
So be sure to smash those like and subscribe buttons. Have a great day.
And go Bears!
Brought to you live by GMS TV.